Tomorrow's National Equal Pay Day. What does that actually mean?
So, Peggy, Equal Pay Day is the day in 2013 that women have to work to earn what their male counterparts earned in 2012. In other words, it takes us 99 days into this year to earn what men earned last year.
For the whole year. One of the missions of the Lawyers Club, which is a 1,000-member local bar association,
Yes.
I understand, is the advancement for women's status in law and society. What types of occupations are we talking about where women are getting paid less than men? Is it across the board? Is it lawyers? Is it people working in restaurants?
You know, Peggy, it's women all across the wage spectrum and education spectrum. Women are earning less, no matter their education, no matter their profession.
Another contemporary economic myth is that women make 75 cents for every dollar men make because they're discriminated against in labor markets. Like other myths, this does have a kernel of truth to it. So for example, if you add up all the incomes of women and divide by the number of women in the labor force, and then do the same thing for men, what you'll find is on average, women do make about 75% of what men do. What's happening here is not discrimination in the labor market, but differences in the choices that men and women make about investing in their knowledge, their education, their skills, and their job experience that lead to them getting paid different salaries. Economists talk about people's human capital. By human capital, we mean the knowledge, the skills, the education, and the job experience that people have. And economics argues that people get paid wages according to that human capital. It turns out that men and women invest very differently in their human capital. And we can see that in 4 different ways. First of all, educational choices. Men, for example, tend to go into fields like engineering. Women tend to go into social sciences, into psychology, into nursing. And so where men are making higher salaries as engineers or perhaps in the business world, women tend to end up in jobs in which their salaries are somewhat lower. So even though they may have the same years of schooling, the different choices they've made about their majors lead to them working in different areas and getting paid differently. Secondly, men and women have different expectations about work. For example, if women expect down the road to take time off to raise children, they'll make different choices today about what kinds of skills they acquire than if they imagine they'll be working full-time for the rest of their lives. And we know historically that men and women in the 1960s and 70s didn't imagine that they would be working full-time at age 40 and ended up making choices that led them to have jobs when they were working at age 40 that didn't pay as well as they might have otherwise. Younger women today, of course, are more likely to imagine themselves working at age 40 and therefore make different investments today. Another difference between men and women is full versus part-time work. Women are much more likely than men to work part-time. Men are more likely to work full-time. And part-time work, even for the same kinds of jobs, tends to pay less than full-time work. And women tend to prefer part-time work more than men because women still tend to take on the majority of the responsibility for children in the home. Finally, men and women differ in terms of their tenure on a job or the way in which their careers get interrupted. If it's the case that women take time off from the workforce to raise children, that will have an impact on their salaries down the road. So when we put these 4 things together, what we get is that the difference between men and women's pay is not a result of labor market discrimination, but of the choices that men and women make before they enter the labor market or even when they're in the labor market, about the kinds of jobs they want to have and the way they want to balance of family and work.